Have you ever had someone look you straight in the eyes and destroy your entire world with just a few words? Not with violence, not with screaming, but with cold, calculated cruelty wrapped in a smile? That's what happened to me. My name is Emma, and this is the story of how my younger sister, the person I protected my entire life, teamed up with my husband to take everything I had built: my home, my business, my dignity. But this isn't just a story about betrayal. This is a story about how I rose from the ashes and made them both regret the day they decided I was weak enough to destroy. So buckle up, because what you're about to hear will make you question every person who's ever said they loved you. It was a Tuesday evening. I remember because Tuesdays were always our nights. Mine and Daniel's, my husband, the man I had been married to for 6 years, the man I had trusted with every part of my soul. I had just gotten home from work. I was exhausted. I ran a successful interior design firm, and we had just landed a massive contract with a hotel chain. It was the biggest deal of my career. I was on top of the world. I walked into our living room, expecting to find Daniel watching TV or cooking dinner like he usually did. Instead, I found him standing by the window. And beside him, clinging to his arm like a lifeline, was my younger sister, Sophie. Her eyes were red, like she'd been crying. But there was something else in her expression, something I couldn't quite place at first: defiance. "Emma," Daniel said, his voice unnervingly calm, "we need to talk." My stomach dropped. Those 4 words, the ones you never want to hear. I set my bag down slowly. "Okay, what's going on?" Sophie looked at Daniel. He looked back at her. And in that moment, I knew. I knew before he even opened his mouth. "Emma, I'm leaving you," Daniel said, his voice flat, emotionless. "I'm with Sophie now. We're together." The room tilted. The air left my lungs. I couldn't breathe. "What?" I whispered, my voice barely audible. Sophie stepped forward, still holding his arm. Her chin lifted slightly. "We didn't plan this, Emma. It just happened. Just happened. As if falling in love with your sister's husband is something that just happens. Like tripping over a rock. Like forgetting your keys." "How long?" I asked, my voice shaking. Daniel looked away. 8 months. 8 months. I had been planning our anniversary trip, celebrating what I thought was a happy marriage, working late nights to build a future for us. And for 8 months, he had been sleeping with my sister, my baby sister, the one I had raised after our parents died, the one I had put through college, the one I had given everything to. "She needed me more than you did," Daniel said, his tone almost defensive now, like he was justifying himself. "You're always working, always busy. Sophie, she was there. She understood me." I stared at him. This man I had loved. This man I had built a life with. He was blaming me for his betrayal. Then Sophie spoke, and her words cut deeper than anything Daniel had said. "You always had everything, Emma," she said, her voice trembling but firm. "The perfect career, the perfect house, the perfect life. For once, I wanted something for myself. So she took my husband, because she was jealous." I stood there, frozen, 1,000 thoughts racing through my mind. 1,000 things I wanted to scream, to cry, to beg. But I didn't. Instead, I looked at both of them, and I smiled. A calm, cold smile. "Congratulations," I said softly, and I walked out of the room. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I didn't give them the satisfaction. Because even in that moment, as my world was falling apart, I knew something they didn't. This wasn't over. not by a long shot. The next few days were a blur. Daniel moved out immediately, packed his things while I was at work, like a coward. Left his wedding ring on the kitchen counter with a note that said, "I'm sorry it had to be this way. Sorry." As if sorry could fix 6 years of lies. Sophie stopped answering my calls, blocked me on social media, moved into an apartment with Daniel within a week, an apartment I later found out I had been paying for. Because, of course, Sophie had been struggling financially for years, and I, like the idiot I was, had been sending her money every month, helping with rent, groceries, bills, money she had been using to build a life with my husband behind my back. But the betrayal didn't stop there. Oh no, it got so much worse. 2 weeks after Daniel left, I got a call from my business partner, Rachel. "Emma, we need to talk," she said, her voice tense. My heart sank. Those words again. I met her at our office. She looked uncomfortable, nervous. "What's going on?" I asked. She slid a folder across the desk. "Daniel came to see me last week." I frowned. "Why?" "He wanted to buy out your share of the company." My blood ran cold. "What?" Rachel nodded. "He said you were going through a difficult time, that you wanted to step back, that he was helping you liquidate assets to make the divorce easier." I couldn't breathe. "And you believed him?" I asked, my voice rising. "No, of course not. That's why I'm telling you. But Emma, he had documents, signatures. He claimed they were yours. Forged documents. Daniel had been planning this for months, maybe longer. He wasn't just leaving me. He was trying to take everything I had built, my company, my money, my future. And he was using my sister to distract me while he dismantled my life piece by piece. I sat there, staring at the folder, my hands trembling. Rachel reached across the desk and squeezed my hand. "We'll fight this, I promise. But you need to get a lawyer. Now." I nodded numbly. But inside, something had shifted. The sadness was gone. The shock was fading. All that was left was a cold, burning rage. They thought I was weak. They thought I would just roll over and let them take everything. They were wrong. I didn't waste time crying. I didn't waste time feeling sorry for myself. I got to work. The first thing I did was hire the best divorce lawyer in the city. Her name was Margaret Chen, and she had a reputation for being ruthless. "Tell me everything," she said when we met. So I did. Every detail, every lie, every betrayal. She listened carefully, taking notes. When I finished, she leaned back in her chair and smiled. "They made a mistake," she said. "What do you mean?" "They underestimated you, and that's going to cost them everything." Margaret got to work immediately. She subpoenaed bank records, phone records, emails, and what we found was shocking. Daniel hadn't just been cheating on me. He had been systematically stealing from me for over a year. He had opened credit cards in my name, taken out loans using our joint assets as collateral, transferred money from our joint accounts into a secret account I didn't even know existed, an account he shared with Sophie. They had been planning this for at least 18 months. The affair wasn't just emotional, it was financial, calculated, premeditated. They were going to leave me with nothing, but they made one critical mistake. They assumed I wouldn't fight back. Margaret compiled everything into a legal case so airtight it was beautiful. "We're going to destroy them," she said, her eyes gleaming. "But we need to be smart. We need to time this perfectly." "What do you mean?" I asked. "Right now, they think they've won. They're comfortable, confident. Let them have that. Let them think you're broken. And then, when they least expect it, we strike. So that's what I did. I went silent, stopped responding to their messages, stopped fighting. Let them think I had given up. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, I was building a case that would ruin them both. 3 weeks passed. 3 weeks of silence. 3 weeks of letting them believe they had won. During that time, I did something else. I started digging into Sophie's life. Because here's the thing about my sister. She had always been a liar, a manipulator, a user. Growing up, she had blamed me for things she did, stolen from me, played the victim to get what she wanted. But I had always forgiven her, always made excuses, always protected her. Not anymore. I hired a private investigator. His name was Marcus, and he was expensive. But he was worth every penny. Find everything, I told him. I don't care how small. I want to know every lie she's ever told. Marcus delivered. Turns out Sophie had been running scams for years. Small ones, but scams nonetheless. She had pretended to be sick to get money from friends, faked job offers to borrow money she never repaid, even lied about being in college for 2 extra years while I paid her tuition. She had been using me her entire life, and now she was using Daniel. But the most damning thing Marcus found was this. Sophie had another boyfriend. That's right. While she was living with Daniel, playing house, pretending to be in love, she was sneaking around with a guy named Jason, a guy she had been with for 3 years, which meant she hadn't fallen in love with Daniel. She had targeted him, seduced him, used him to get access to my money. When I saw the photos Marcus had taken Sophie and Jason kissing outside a hotel, laughing, looking completely in love, I smiled. This was it. This was the ammunition I needed. But I wasn't going to reveal it yet. No. I was going to wait for the perfect moment, the moment that would hurt them both the most. 4 weeks after Daniel left, he reached out. "We need to finalize things," his text said. "Can we meet?" I agreed. We met at a cafe. Neutral ground. He brought Sophie. Of course he did. They sat across from me, holding hands, putting on a united front. Daniel cleared his throat. "Emma, I want this to be amicable, for both our sakes." Amicable. The audacity. "What do you want?" I asked calmly. "I think it's fair if we split everything 50-50, he said. "The house, the savings, your business." "My business?" I interrupted, my voice icy. "Our business," he corrected. "I supported you while you built it. I think I'm entitled to half." I looked at Sophie. She was staring at me with that same defiant expression. "And what do you want, Sophie?" I asked. She blinked, surprised I was addressing her directly. "I just want you to be happy for us," she said quietly. "I know this is hard, but we're in love. We deserve a chance." Deserve. These two people who had lied and stolen and betrayed me thought they deserved anything. I leaned back in my chair and smiled. "You're right," I said. "You deserve exactly what's coming to you." Daniel frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" I didn't answer. I just stood up, dropped a 20 on the table, and walked out. Let them wonder. Let them worry. Because in 3 days, their entire world was going to collapse. 3 days later, on a cold Monday morning, a courier arrived at the apartment Daniel and Sophie were sharing. The apartment I had been paying for. He handed them a registered letter, official, legal, stamped with the seal of Margaret's law firm. I wasn't there, but Marcus was. Parked across the street, camera ready. He told me later what happened. Sophie opened the door, signed for the letter, brought it inside. Daniel was eating breakfast, drinking coffee, probably feeling pretty good about himself. Sophie handed him the envelope. "What is this?" he asked. "I don't know. It's from a law firm." He opened it, started reading, and Marcus said he watched the color drain from Daniel's face, literally, like someone had pulled a plug. Sophie grabbed the letter from his hands, started reading. Her mouth fell open. "No," she whispered. "No, no, no." The letter was simple, clear, devastating. It outlined everything. Every fraudulent transaction, every forged signature, every illegal transfer of funds. It detailed the 18-month conspiracy, the secret bank account, the loans taken out in my name. And then came the kicker. Margaret had filed criminal charges, fraud, identity theft, embezzlement. Daniel was facing up to 10 years in prison. Sophie, as an accomplice, was facing 5, but the letter didn't stop there. It also included a restraining order. They were both banned from coming within 500 feet of me or my business. And finally, it included a civil lawsuit. I was suing them for every penny they had stolen, plus damages, plus legal fees. The amount? $750,000. Money they didn't have. Marcus said Sophie started crying, hysterical, gulping sobs. Daniel just sat there, frozen, staring at the letter like it was a death sentence. Because in a way, it was. Over the next 2 weeks, I watched their lives implode. Daniel tried to call me, texted me dozens of times. "Please, we can work this out. I'll pay you back. Just drop the charges." I didn't respond. Sophie showed up at my office, crying, begging to talk. Security escorted her out. Then Daniel's family got involved. His mother called me, screaming about how I was ruining her son's life. "He made a mistake," she yelled. "You're destroying him over one mistake." One mistake. 18 months of lying, stealing, and betraying me was one mistake. I hung up on her. Then the dominoes really started to fall. Daniel lost his job. Once his company found out about the criminal charges, they fired him immediately. Sophie's apartment lease was terminated. Turns out I was the guarantor. I contacted the landlord and had her removed. Their secret bank account? Frozen by court order. The loans Daniel had taken out? Traced back to him. He was now personally liable for all of them. They had nowhere to go. No money. No support. And then, the final blow. I released the photos. The ones Marcus had taken of Sophie with Jason. I didn't post them publicly. I didn't need to. I just sent them to Daniel. With a simple message. "You were never special. You were just convenient." Daniel called me after he saw the photos. "Is this real?" he asked, his voice broken. "Yes." Silence. She was cheating on me? "She was using you, Daniel. Just like she used me her entire life." I could hear him breathing, shaky, uneven. "I threw away my marriage for her," he whispered. "I ruined my life for her. And she didn't even love me." "No," I said coldly. "She didn't." He started crying then. Actual sobs. "I'm sorry, Emma. I'm so sorry. I was an idiot. I was weak. Please, please forgive me." I let him cry, let him beg. And then I said the words I had been waiting months to say. "You made your choice, Daniel. Now you get to live with it. For the rest of your life." And I hung up. I never spoke to him again. The criminal trial took 6 months. Daniel pled guilty to fraud and embezzlement. He was sentenced to 4 years in prison. Sophie pled guilty to being an accomplice. She got 2 years, suspended sentence, plus probation and community service. But the real punishment wasn't the legal consequences. It was the social consequences. Everyone found out. their friends, their family, their community. Daniel's name was dragged through the mud. He lost everything: his career, his reputation, his future. Sophie became a pariah. No one wanted anything to do with her. Even her so-called friends abandoned her. Jason, her secret boyfriend, he ghosted her the second the scandal broke. She tried to reach out to me once more. A handwritten letter. "I'm sorry. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I'm your sister. Please." I burned the letter without reading past the first line, because she stopped being my sister the day she decided to destroy me. While their lives fell apart, mine flourished. I threw myself into my business, expanded, hired new staff, landed even bigger contracts. Within a year, my company had doubled in revenue. I bought a new house, bigger, better, a place with no memories of Daniel. I started dating again, slowly, carefully, but I was open to it. I even reconnected with old friends I had lost touch with while I was married, people who genuinely cared about me. I went to therapy, processed the trauma, learned to trust again, and most importantly, I learned to put myself first. For years, I had given everything to the people I loved. My time, my money, my energy, and they had taken it all for granted. Never again. Now I set boundaries. I say no. I prioritize my own happiness. And you know what? I've never been happier. 2 years after everything happened, I ran into Sophie. I was at a coffee shop waiting for a client meeting, and there she was, standing in line, looking tired, worn down. She saw me, froze. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then she walked over. "Emma," she said quietly, "can we talk? Just for a minute?" I looked at her, really looked at her. She had aged, dark circles under her eyes, clothes that didn't fit right, hair that needed washing. She looked defeated. Part of me, a very small part, felt pity. But then I remembered everything she had done, everything she had taken from me. "No," I said simply. "Please," she begged. "I just want to apologize. I want you to know I don't care." I interrupted. "I don't care what you want to say. I don't care how sorry you are. You made your choices. Now live with them." Tears filled her eyes. "I lost everything, Emma. I have nothing." I leaned in close enough that only she could hear me. "Good," I whispered, and I walked away. I didn't look back. So what did I learn from all of this? A lot. First, I learned that not everyone who says they love you actually does. Some people only love what you can do for them, what you can give them, what you represent. And when you stop being useful, they'll discard you without a second thought. Second, I learned that betrayal doesn't define you. How you respond does. You can let it break you, let it make you bitter, let it destroy your ability to trust. Or you can use it as fuel, as motivation, as a reason to become stronger. I chose the latter. Third, I learned that revenge doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be violent. The best revenge is living well, succeeding, thriving, becoming the version of yourself that they can never touch again. And finally, I learned that some people will never change. Sophie was always going to be selfish, always going to be a user, always going to play the victim. Daniel was always going to be weak, always going to take the easy way out, always going to blame someone else for his choices. I can't change them, but I can control how much space they take up in my life. And the answer is none. If you're going through something similar right now, I want you to hear this. You are not weak for trusting someone who betrayed you. You are not stupid for loving someone who hurt you. You are not responsible for their choices, but you are responsible for what happens next. You can choose to stay stuck in the pain, or you can choose to move forward. You can choose to let them win, or you can choose to reclaim your power. It won't be easy. There will be days when you want to give up, when the weight of it all feels too heavy. But I promise you, on the other side of that pain is a version of yourself you never knew existed. Stronger, wiser, unbreakable. You just have to be willing to fight for it. People always ask me, have you forgiven them? And my answer is always the same. No, and I don't need to. Forgiveness is not a requirement for healing. You can heal without forgiving. You can move on without offering grace to people who don't deserve it. Forgiveness is a gift, and some people haven't earned it. Daniel and Sophie destroyed my life. They lied to me, stole from me, used me. Do I wish them ill? No. Do I think about them often? No. But do I forgive them? Absolutely not. And I'm at peace with that. Because my peace doesn't depend on them. It never did. It depends on me. And I've chosen to be at peace. Not because they apologized, not because they changed, but because I decided I deserved it. Today, I'm in a place I never thought I'd be. My business is thriving. We just opened a second location, hired 15 new employees, won multiple industry awards. I'm in a healthy, loving relationship with someone who respects me, who values me, who would never dream of betraying me. I have real friends, people who show up, people who care. I have a beautiful home, financial security, freedom. But more than any of that, I have something I didn't have before: self-respect. Because I stood up for myself. I didn't let them get away with it. I didn't roll over and play victim. I fought back. And I won. Not because I destroyed them, though. Let's be honest. That was a nice bonus. But because I refused to let their betrayal define my future. They tried to take everything from me, but they couldn't take the one thing that mattered most: my determination to rise again. And if anyone listening to this is thinking about betraying someone they claim to love, let me give you a warning. Think twice, because you might think you're clever. You might think you'll get away with it. You might think the person you're betraying will just accept it and move on. But you never know who you're dealing with. You never know what someone is capable of when you push them too far. Some people will break, but others will come back stronger, smarter, more dangerous than you ever imagined. And by the time you realize your mistake, it'll be too late. So ask yourself, is it worth it? Is that momentary thrill worth losing everything? Is that person you're cheating with worth destroying your entire life? Because trust me, the answer is no. It's never worth it. Before I go, I want to leave you with one final thought. You are not your trauma. You are not defined by what was done to you. You are defined by what you do next, by how you rise, how you rebuild, how you reclaim your life. Betrayal is painful. It's devastating. It changes you, but it doesn't have to destroy you. You can take that pain and turn it into power. You can take that anger and turn it into ambition. You can take that loss and turn it into a lesson. And one day, you'll look back and realize they didn't break you. They woke you up. I made a promise to myself after everything happened. A promise that no one would ever make me feel small again. That no one would ever take advantage of my kindness. That no one would ever mistake my forgiveness for weakness. And I've kept that promise. Every single day, I choose myself. I choose my peace, my happiness, my boundaries. And if that makes me selfish, so be it, because I spent too many years putting everyone else first. And where did it get me? Betrayed, broken, destroyed, never again. Now I put myself first, always, and I encourage you to do the same, because at the end of the day, the only person you can truly rely on is yourself. So be someone you can rely on. Be someone you can be proud of. Be someone who refuses to be broken. This story isn't just about revenge, it's about resilience. It's about refusing to be a victim. It's about taking back control of your life when someone tries to steal it. It's about proving to yourself and to the world that you are stronger than the worst thing that ever happened to you. And that's a legacy worth leaving. So if you take anything away from my story, let it be this. You are capable of surviving anything. You are capable of rebuilding from nothing. You are capable of becoming someone even better than you were before. All you have to do is believe it and fight for it every single day. Thank you for listening to my story. I know it was long. I know it was painful in places, but I hope it helped you in some way. Whether you're going through something similar, or you know someone who is, or you're just here for the story, I hope you got something valuable out of it. Remember, betrayal doesn't define you. Your response does. So, choose strength, choose resilience, choose yourself. Because you deserve so much better than what they gave you. And one day you'll realize that losing them was the best thing that ever happened to you. Because it gave you the chance to find yourself. And that's worth more than any relationship, any friendship, any family member who never truly valued you. You are enough, exactly as you are. Never forget that.